بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجهم. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Four ladies on the face of this earth who measured up to the lofty position of real greatness and perfection set by Islam. One of them is the ultimate purpose of this episode. Sayyidatu Nisa'i Alamiha, the mistress of the ladies of her era, the brilliant, the majestic, the honorable, Amiratu Quraysh, Al-Tahira, the beloved wife of the Prophet, As-Sayyida Khadija ibn Khuwaylid alayha afdal salati wassalam. Let us look into her character, her contribution, and the last moments of her life in this world. You see, although she lived in a society which is male chauvinistic, Lady Khadija alayha afdal salati wassalam earned two major titles: the Princess of Quraysh and At-Tahira, the pure one. And that is due to her impeccable personality and virtuous character. Even before she met the Prophet, Ruhillah al-Fida, she would give the poor, she would spend and sacrifice her money towards feeding the hunger, and also she would contribute in events of marriage, helping those who are of her kin that weren't able to otherwise get married. In that society which is normally known for indecency, the age of ignorance, and immodesty, you see this shining star in the midst of that darkness. Khadija ibn Khuwaylid alayha salati wassalam. She endowed the Prophet Ruhilah al-Fida with all what she had. And we're talking about an extremely successful, wealthy, if you will, business woman. She gave all that to the Prophet Ruhi Lahul Fida. Ad-Diyar Bakri, one of the famous historians, he even put the estimate that she possessed 80,000 camels. 80,000 camels. A camel is something close to a truck, if you will, or a trailer nowadays, right? So she had this immeasurable shipping fleet, if you will. People would rent her fleet, and she would have her own expeditions and business expeditions to Sham and Yemen and whatnot. She put all that at the disposal of the Prophet. In that, we have an exemplar. Okay? In that, there's a relevant lesson for us. And I believe that you're intelligent enough to understand that the spirit of a mu'min should have a spirit close to what Khadija did. You put all what you have at the disposal of your household, right? Whether you're the wife or the husband. The first priority is your household. You cannot hold off spending. And in that, we have a very beautiful exemplar. A man comes to Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salatu wasalam, and he tells him that, I want to ask you, where is the Prophet getting all that money from? He's funding major voyages and expeditions, two major expeditions to Abyssinia. People are coming and he's offering them land and wealth, right? He's basically putting and pumping a lot of money in Medina and Mecca. Where is he getting that? You know how he replies? He tells him, وَأَيْنَ كَانَ مَالُ خَدِيجَةَ? Where do you think the money of Khadija is going? She's putting all that to the Prophet, Ruhi Lahul Fida. One of the youngest wives of the Prophet, Aisha. One day she was outraged by the Prophet frequently remembering Khadija alayhi salatu wassalam. And she told her that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had replaced you better than her. Very strictly the Prophet replies back, and he says, Ma abdalani Allah khayran min Khadija. Allah have never replaced me with a better wife than Khadija. Why? And he lists those beautiful characteristics. Amanat bi hina kadhabani an-nas. She believed in me. Imagine the population of Islam for a few years was only 3. The entire population was 3. The Prophet, Ali ibn Abi Talib ruhi lahu al-fida, and Khadija ibn Khuwaylid. Right? وَصَدَّقَتْ بِي حِينَ كَذَّبَنِي النَّاسِ. She believed in me where people accused me of being dishonest. And at the end of that, he says, وَوَاسَتْنِي بِمَالِهَا حِينَ مَنَعْنِي النَّاسِ. She supported me with her wealth where people deprived me. And then at the very end, وَرَزَقَنِي اللَّهُ مِنْهَا الْوَلَدْ وَلَمْ يَرْزُقْنِي مِنْ غَيْرِهَا. From her lineage, from her blessed, if you will, womb, the lineage of the Prophet ﷺ shall continue. This is Lady Khadija, ruhilah al-fida. At the very end of this, she had one request. She's the one who funded Islam. If it wasn't for the mal and the wealth of Khadija, Islam wouldn't be as we see it today. She had one request from the Prophet. That was 10 years after revelation, 3 years after Hijrah. They were under the siege of Shi'bi Abi Talib. Now this wealthy lady doesn't have enough clothes to use as a shroud, as a kafan. She was suffering from an illness because all what they used to eat, imagine, is only leaves, tree leaves. This was their breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So she was sick in that day where she was laying down on this palm tree rug, where the hadith says that you cannot distinguish between that rug and the actual ground. She goes to Fatima alayha afdal salati wassalam, and she tells her, go to the Prophet and tell him that I am nearing death. These are my last moments and I have only one request. I want the garment of the Prophet to be a shroud to me. So Sayyidah Fatima alayhi afdal salati wassalam goes there and she tells the Prophet, Inna ummi lima biha rahilatun wa hiya tastamihuka rida'uk. My mother, due to her illness, is departing this dunya and she wants your garment. The Prophet burst into tears. He started shedding tears. He felt very vulnerable after Khadija ruhilah al-fida and after Abu Talib. So he goes back and he gives her the garment. Jibreel descends down and he also offers him a garment from the sky because definitely she was a devoted woman. She was a devoted woman. She's the one where the Prophet descends down and sends salams to Khadija. He tells the Prophet, اقرأها عني السلام. She replies back, Allahumma anta salam wa ilayka salam wa ilayka ya'udu salam. Look at this learned scholar. Look at the, if you will, the strength that lies in those beautiful words. تعاليت وتباركت يا ذا الجلال والإكرام وعلى جبرائيل السلام. So Jibreel descends down and he gives another shroud to Khadija alayha afdal salati wassalam. After that, the Prophet ruhilah al-fida is in deep sorrow and pain, so much so that he calls this year Amul Huzn, the year of sorrow and grief. وصلى الله على محمد وآله الطيبين الطاهرين.